like any comic book, cartoon, any kind of media enthusiast, I went to my very first Comic-Con, and it was quite an experience, to say the least. I'm not gonna immediately say, did I enjoy it, did I hate it, would I go again? I kind of want to just talk about my overall thoughts, and the things that I saw, the things I wish I could have done, and just overall how the day went for me. So right off the bat, we're off to a really bad start. I won't lie, guys. I set my alarm that same day to wake up and be there bright and early so I could see the Coyote versus Acme panel that was going on, and to potentially see the Amazing World of Gumball, or sorry, the Wonderfully Weird World of Gumball. Is that what it's called now? I don't remember, but I was gonna see that sneak peek thing they were doing. And I didn't even know until later that I guess James Gunn and freaking John Cena were there for I think it was like the Peacemaker panel thing or something. I don't remember exactly what it was. I couldn't tell you, to be honest, but I missed all three things because my alarm did not go off for whatever reason. So I woke up instead of at around, 6-7 a.m. to get ready super quick and then drive right on over. I woke up like at 11. So I had like 30 minutes to get ready for the day, and I had to book it immediately. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad of a drive to get down to downtown San Diego where the convention was being held. But all things considered, it did bum me out that I essentially missed the 3 major events that I specifically wanted to go for. But all things considered, it wasn't the end of the world, you know? I was still able to make it fairly early to where I could still see all the cosplayers piling in, all the other fans showing up. And it was funny, even on the way, just walking over to the convention center, I got a couple people complimenting me on my Aerith cosplay because yes, of course, I went cosplayed as Aerith. Who else did you expect? And funny enough, I was actually feeling really insecure about being in my cosplay. I had planned on losing a specific amount of weight before I had gone, just for my own insecurities, just to make myself feel more comfortable being in cosplay. But I did not, unfortunately, meet my goal, but I didn't want to just show up in nothing because I had planned on doing it regardless, so even then, I feel like most people who generally came up to me and told me, hey, I really like your cosplay, or similar things to that, I didn't feel ugly, I guess, if that's the way to word it. It's funny because there was actually a handful of people who just like wanted pictures with me, or even just a photo of me, I guess for the safekeep or something, just to, you know, look back on, which I thought was really cool. I genuinely didn't think something like that would happen to me because, I mean, throughout the entire convention, I just felt so ugly in comparison to everybody else showing up in cosplay, but that's something we're just gonna bury that away for now. That being said, I am really bummed I didn't ask more people to take photos. I was really shy in doing so, and again, with the aforementioned insecurities that I felt in the way I looked, I just didn't want to ask people to take photos with me because I felt that, why would they, you know? And it's funny, in a way, my insecurities were pretty much, I guess, semi-valid, because I do recall at the end of the day, when I was heading back to my car to go home, I did stumble across this Cloud Strife cosplayer, and our eyes met. We locked on. We I looked up as we were literally like, he was walking down the street and I was walking the opposite way. So our gaze, we met each other's gaze, right? And I was like mid sentence of asking, "Hey, I really like your cosplay. Like, can we take a photo together?" And this guy just like completely ignored me and walked across the street opposite to where I was. And, you know, in hindsight, it probably is just the fact that he had places to be. That's not an issue, but, I mean, for me, it did feel like my... it just felt like my insecurities and my not so positive thoughts about myself were more than valid at that point. But again, I feel like now that I'm recording this and thinking back on it, it was probably just the guy being busy, or maybe he didn't even hear me. I don't know. I'm just choosing to cope and look on the bright side of things. That being said, though, there was actually a handful of Tifa cosplayers that actually, you know, they came up to me on their own. They're like, hey, I really like your costume, and it made me really happy. I did get a photo with one Tifa cosplayer, and assuming I don't feel super self-conscious about sharing the video, or about sharing the photo here, I'll include it. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'm also just not super comfortable showing my face on here. I like to remain fairly anonymous for the most part. I don't really like to show all that much about myself. Now into the thick of it. One thing that Comic-Con is notoriously known for is, I would argue, definitely the actual booths that they have there. I saw a lot of amazing Digital Circus stuff, like not even just on the Glitch booth, but in other booths too. It was crazy. There's so much amazing Digital Circus and Murder Drones and all that good stuff, which I'm not complaining, you know. I love the amazing Digital Circus, so sadly I did not pick up any of the merch that they had available because I did not want to spend most of my con time waiting in lines. And speaking of that, if you do not get there early, it's gonna be a rough one, because there were a couple things I had to wait in line for, but for the most part, I was pretty strategic in what I was waiting in line for. If it was a line that wasn't gonna take more than 10 minutes to wait in, I stood in that line. For example, I actually met the voice actor of Courage the Cowardly Dog, because, truth be told, there wasn't a whole lot of people who were coming up to, you know, get something signed or to get a photo with. But I saw my opportunity and I took it because I love that show. I love Courage the Cowardly Dog, and I just love dogs in general, and he's a really good voice actor. I think he's sick. And he was super sweet. He was saying a lot of really nice stuff to me. And I mentioned to him that, like, I was tearing up as I was waiting in line. I was like, damn, I'm really about to meet this guy. What the hell? And he was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, don't cry. It's okay. Things like that. It was such a positive moment. And I did get something signed by him, of course. Got a photo with him. Maybe I'll include it. Who knows? Again, if I do, it's definitely gonna have me censored, or at least cropped out a lot for my sake. And I did have a brief conversation with Iroh from, you know, Avatar 2.0, because I'll be honest, it was a ginormous line just to meet him. And I only had a brief conversation with him just when I was waiting for Courage's VA. So I unfortunately did not get anything signed by him or got a chance to take a photo with him, because I felt bad. Like, I didn't want to rush other people as well that were in line. Like, I didn't want them to make them, like, I just didn't want to make them feel like they were being rushed, you know? And I also was just not going to wait in a really, really long line, unfortunately. Sorry, maybe one day I'll get my opportunity again. And there were a lot of cool artists, I think. I unfortunately don't really remember a lot of them. And there's probably some that I did not even get to go up to their booth and see what they had available, because there was just a lot. And it's funny, I saw somebody have later after Comic-Con, they had like a Shadow the Hedgehog movie 3 pin, the keychain thing. And it was like the test tube that he was in the movie. And I asked, hey, where'd you get that from? And they told me it was from Comic-Con. And I was dumbfounded. I did not see a single artist have that. But again, it could just be that I missed out on it, or I somehow didn't get to that part of the convention center. There was so much there. They had Lego stuff. They had DC comic stuff. They had, I mean, it's pretty much just comics, right? That's mainly the big thing, right? And it was so cool just seeing the time and effort put into these booths. The DC booth was insane. I really liked the Nickelodeon one as well. They had a whole Avatar The Last Airbender themed They had a whole themed booth just about Avatar. You had an opportunity to take a photo with a bunch of Avatar standees like Aang, Katara, all that. But again, it was such a long line, and as I guess maybe not pessimistic, but I just didn't want to take photos with standees. You know, I'd rather take a photo with SpongeBob and Patrick. Come on now, like that was way better. And I did see some cool Ruby stuff, which shout out, you guys have been watching my live streams where I watched that show for the first time. I did see Ruby stuff. I was really tempted to get it because I had it on Blu-ray, because I guess they're re-releasing it on Blu-ray. And I was so tempted to buy it for my friend Lupin, but I was like, yeah, I'm on a budget, unfortunately. I could only buy so much. And I did see a giant Vegeta, I think it was. I can't even remember. I'm trying to recall on my memory right now. But I saw a lot of giant statues. They were so cool. I tried to get a photo of mostly everything that I saw, if it looked cool enough to be featured in the video, or just things that I was interested in. But I definitely feel like I missed out on a lot of things. I really wanted to see, or I guess I really wanted to meet some of the voices from, I think Simpsons were there for the Hulu and Fox booth, but again, I'm not gonna wait in a really long line for that, sorry. As for the artist gallery, or sorry, the artist alley was so cool. I had a conversation with this one artist. If I remember what his artist name is, I'll put it in, I'll caption it. And I had a brief, not really interview, but I had a brief conversation with him. I was talking about, you know, oh, like he had this one specific drawing of what looked like kind of a Maltese dog, and it caught my eye immediately because I have dogs that are half Maltese. I got 2 Maltipoos and I got a Terrier Maltese mix. So immediately I see dog, I go over there. And so I walk up to his booth and I tell him, hey, like, this is really good. Is this your dog? He tells me, no, it's not my dog. It's a friend's dog. And he's like, oh, it's all drawn with dots, by the way. I was like, dots? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? That's amazing. Like, I don't know how you do that. It's amazing. Like, how long did it take you? And I can't recall how long he took. I'll probably include it in a little snippet here as exposition. But it was so cool. There was a lot of other artists like that too, who I was like, I don't know who these people are, but I'm a fan of you now. Your art is so good that I'm just an instant fan. Which, speaking of, I actually got to meet a couple familiar faces. I met a writer and an artist from some of the Powerpuff Girls comics. It was so awesome. I picked up a poster that was signed by both of them and an exclusive comic as well, which is pretty sick. And alongside that, I actually met one of the artists that was behind Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, and it was amazing. I am still forever upset that show got cancelled for the dumbest fucking reasons. Maybe I'll make a video about that, but regardless, it was so cool to just stand there in front of them and talk to them. I was like, holy shit, like, I look up to your art, this is awesome! And oh, and of course, I did see some artists who had some Final Fantasy themed, you know, pieces or keychains, stickers, and I was like, yep, give me that. I'm giving you my money now! And yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I could yap about, but I also don't want to just make this video repetitive, like probably a lot of other people who have been to Comic-Con before. I will say this actually is my very first convention ever. Well, technically speaking, I did go to a mini Halloween horror sorta expo thing. It was at a hotel, and that's where I met Mojo Jojo's and Ghostface's VA, which is really cool. And I also met the guy who plays Freddy in the FNAF movie. But and a couple other people. Oh, Bob Saget. I think that's his name, right? Bob Saget. No! The third. Freaking Marvin the Martian, Porky Pig. Like, this guy's huge, right? He's a big deal. But it wasn't anything crazy big, so I don't really count it. San Diego Comic-Con is a giant event, and I am still so happy that I was able to go for my very first time. But now the question remains, was it worth going? Is it something I could see myself going to again? Did I like my first experience? I can confidently say that it was a very good experience. I definitely should have been a little more prepared, and I think the lack of preparation did hinder my experience just a tad, which, I didn't even mention the fact that I was cosplaying as Aerith, and Aerith, oh my god, and Aerith wears semi-high-heeled boots, or just boots, right? And I was a dumbass, and I didn't bring any spare shoes to change into, and that was my biggest mistake ever. I actually hate myself for that. My feet were dying, and I still somehow managed to stay there for roughly about 8+ hours. I can't even remember, but I was there for a really long time. And yeah, I mean, I wish I'd brought more snacks, because I will say the security there was kind of weird, because I feel like they paid more attention to those who were leaving, like if they had to step outside or go eat somewhere or whatever, than those who were actually coming in, because I technically didn't even enter the convention from the main entrance, which is where you go when you haven't first gotten in or went into the convention, and they did not care that I just walked in. I just followed a group of volunteers. I was like, I don't want to follow this other group of people because they look like they're gonna have to walk even further down to get in. So I just followed this group of volunteers, and I just scanned my thing and I walked right in, and then literally nobody cared. And no one checked my bag, no one did anything. So, truth be told, someone could have realistically brought in something, I mean, maybe not dangerous, but they probably would have brought in a fucking Caniac combo or some shit from Cane's, I don't know. But yeah, maybe it'll change in the future, who knows, but I do think I was very unprepared, but that's my own fault. It's no one else to blame. Would I consider going again? Honestly, yes. However, I don't think I'd want to go by myself, because yes, I did go by myself, and as much fun as I did have and as much enjoyment as I got from going, I think I would have had twice the amount of fun had I gone with somebody else. But unfortunately, I just didn't have anybody who would go with me, you know? And yeah, I mean, I still really liked it. I would definitely go again. And yeah, I mean, there's really not much else to it. I saw a lot of cool people, met a lot of cool other fans of things that I liked, you know. I saw a lot, and it just made me very happy that I like the things that I like. Because a lot of times, even growing up, I always felt so abnormal, out of place for being a nerd in terms of enjoying the things that I like, being so autistic and hyperfixating on various things for such a long time that sometimes they don't even go away. And I mean, going to conventions, or I guess going to Comic-Con in specific, it just made me very happy to know that there are millions of other people out there who are just as crazy about the things that they love, and that just makes me feel hopeful. Makes me feel okay in knowing that I too am not normal about these quote-unquote not normal things, as I was told when I was younger. But let me know if you guys went to Comic-Con. I'd be surprised to know if a lot of people went. It was definitely a really good experience. I would love to go again. I think if I do go next year though, I don't know if I'll cosplay Aerith, but maybe something a little more comfortable where I don't have to wear such uncomfortable shoes. But, I mean, you live and learn. We'll see what happens. Anyways, that's gonna be it from me. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Special shout out to our first ever gourmet gummy patron over on Patreon, Chomps. Thank you again so much.